Hey everybody, Raven here, and this is episode 7 of Coin Shop Talks with myself and my partner in coin crime, Stephanie. Today we're going to talk to you about Mexican coinage, its rise from obscurity to insane popularity.
Go.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is the two major types of typeset books that were available in recent years for collecting Mexican coinage. This first one here is the 1 peso book, and it is literally a cool, comprehensive book. This one was put out by Dansco, and as you can see, it's had a little bit of mileage on its life because the owner of this has been collecting for quite a long time. If we can open it up and show what we have here. So this first area is some of the more hard coins to get. Matter of fact, this would fall under what would be called a cabalito, and that is this beautiful coin right here. This is an uncirculated example. This coin graded is worth in the thousands nowadays. And one thing you got to understand when it's dealing with Mexican coinage is not long ago we could actually buy these type of coins for close to melt, sometimes below melt, you know, and it's just amazing where it's come from. So as you can see here, we have one of the more rare ones from 1918 with 3 million minted. These other spaces are coins that he's still looking to get. And then you go here to 1920, you can see all these are beautiful uncirculated examples, some of them with really low mintages, like about 5 million, all the way up to 43 million, and then back down to 8 million in 1935. Now the pesos are beautiful coins. Most of them are 72% silver. Some of them, the older ones, were a little bit higher in silver content, and then as the years went on, they actually went down quite a bit. Now here's one that's a super low mintage, 1957, at just a 500,000 minted, so that's actually a pretty rare one. You used to be able to get these here for literally, like I said, spot or melt. And the thing that is really surprising now is in the uncirculated condition, these coins are worth quite a bit when they're graded. A few of them are worth in the hundreds, for just getting an MS grade. Very, very cool. And then we come into the type 8 peso, and these are modern. These are clad peso examples, but very, very cool. If you happen to run into any of these at a coin shop or a pawn shop and they're selling them for cheap, grab them because you're going to do very well.
Yeah, we don't see them in here very often at all. I get a lot of people that ask for them. They're like, oh, how often do you see those? Occasionally.
And the thing is once they come in, they go right back out. If the owner of the shop isn't looking for it in his own collection, it's very rare that they get into the case. And so the next thing we're going to show you is this really cool Mexican type coin set book, and this one is actually owned by our cameraman, Mr. Sean, and it's
Work in progress.
Yep, like you said, a work in progress. And as you come through here, you can see all sorts of really cool stuff. He's got silver, and that one's gold, isn't it?
No.
Oh no, that's brass.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a brass one. These are silver. This book is really extensive. It really allows somebody, just like in a U.S. type coin set book, to have the chance to collect a lot of cool things. Right there, very cool, 1919, that's 80% silver. Then they have the 72%. They also have them where they're at 90%. Right here, another, does that say 80? Yeah, 80%, 72%. These are the 50 centavos, and you notice the one in 1905 to 1918 is bigger than the one in 1935 by quite a bit because the value of silver obviously changed. Then he comes into a nice array of other coins that are pretty hard to get. This one you rarely see in this area, if at all. The 2 pesos is a very popular. This coin here, you used to be able to get these for about $30 a piece. Now they're a couple $100 a piece. This here is the 1955 pesos Southern Railroad. This coin, half of these that were ever made were melted to make the 1968 Olympic coin.
Crime.
Yeah, I agree. It really was. It was a travesty, but it skyrocketed the value of that coin because, again, that was a coin you used to be able to get them for about $30-$35 on average for an uncirculated one. Now they're about $200. The Carranza is a really cool one. That's a 1-year type. The 10 pesos are really neat, and that is a very, very cool book. And we're going to look at some gold here in just a minute. And so in front of us, we have a number of examples of Mexican gold. And this is another thing. Mexican gold was one of those things that, again, you used to be able to buy it for melt. Nowadays, it is worth quite a bit more, and they're absolutely beautiful. The 20 pesos is actually one of my absolute favorite renditions of Mexican gold because they did such a great job in the detail of that coin. Here we have two different examples. This one in the red case is very, very nice. And then we have the 1918. And these are the catalog numbers, the KM numbers on there. And these, like I said, the amount of detail they put in them is just phenomenal. And I think that's one of the reasons Mexican coinage, whether it be gold or silver, has really gone up in value in the last 7 years roughly. The next item up, we have a 10 peso. And again, these are all highly sought after. We used to see them quite a bit when they came in, but they've just kind of dried up in recent years. I mean, how often did you used to see gold in the past of pesos and whatnot stuff?
No, we used to get them quite regularly. I'd have all the time. I used to have a customer call and regularly ask if I had a 2.5 peso, because periodically I actually did. And then he started calling, I never had any.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And there's one really cool thing that Stephanie's going to talk about in a minute here, or actually in a second, is Mexican coins that were produced by the United States. A lot of people didn't realize, and might not realize, that the United States has produced an insane amount of coins for other countries, and we've done a number of them for Mexico.
The 20 centavos is one that they did 1907, and they minted those out of San Francisco. The 50 centavos, 1906 to 1907. So this one they did a couple years, and that's out of Denver and San Francisco. There was another 50 centavo, 1935, and that one was Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So you're going to see the U.S. mint marks on the Mexican coins. Oh, they didn't mint mark them. Okay, my bad. No mint marks, that's just where they came from. 1 peso, 1898 from San Francisco, the 5 peso and a 10 peso, both of those in 1906, Philadelphia.
Which is pretty cool, that kind of history and whatnot between the two countries, and it gives you guys kind of a background of really cool stuff. Matter of fact, a future video of ours is going to be talking about different coinages that were minted by the United States for countries around the world.
And they are really hard to find. I think we only have one example, maybe, of the 35, was it?
This one right here.
This one here. So there's your U.S. minted Mexico coin that does not have a U.S. mint mark on it.
Yeah, flip it over.
Ta-da!
That is really cool. It's interesting to see how that happens, and for the reason is that a lot of these countries couldn't afford the minting machinery and the silver at the same time, so they would pay the United States to produce them and be able to have their own coinage, which is really, really cool. The last thing we want to show you is these 4 coins here, because they're absolute beautiful examples. This first one is an 8 real, and those were primarily used under Spanish rule, but they continued to make them after they got their independence, Mexico being their independence from Spain. And these are beautiful uncirculated examples that came into the shop a couple years ago, actually. And they're in a private collection, but we got lucky to be able to share them. This one here is called the cap and ray, so when it's flipped over, you'll see that it has the Libertad cap and then the rays. That is a very iconic coin design feature that still is within Mexican coinage to this day. This next one we showed you a little while ago, this is the Caballito that only ran for the 4 years, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, actually 5 years, because 10 through 14 is actually 5. And a very cool sought after coin. This one's a beautiful example that you don't really see at hardly any coin shows. And we're really close to Mexico because we're next to Texas. And it used to be you go to Texas Coin Show and you'd find these coins all over the place. Now they're harder to find, and when they are, they're graded, and even the cleaned ones that are AU to X, BU details are about $1,100.
Wow.
This last one here, this is called a Casa de Moneda, the scale Onza, and this one they made 1 million when this was done. I did a video a long time ago about these. They're called the 1 in a million coin, and they're 1 ounce of silver. They're actually a sterling coin, so when you do the math, they put enough in there to equal 3 nines fine of 1 ounce, but it is a sterling coin. And there's a really cool story with these scales. This little piece here will actually be on different parts of where it says Onza, and depending on where it's at, it's actually a type of variety within the coin. Yeah. So, you know, I think it's something cool that people should learn about. Understand that there's some really cool stuff out there besides United States numismatics that are worth money. And, you know, what else do you think?
Just go out and have fun. Other countries have fun coins too.
Definitely. If you want to correspond, it's RavenHawkCoins@gmail.com. Our P.O. Box is 721-296, Norman, Oklahoma 73070. Like always, please make sure to take care of one another, and we'll see you real soon. RavenHawk Coins, have a great day.